Alright, this is Quiz 8 Study Guide. And number 1, you're given a triangle there. You got two side lengths that are the same. They're both equal to 21, and this angle up here is 38 degrees. Now, this, we're going to use it again in a few minutes. This angle in this triangle has two sides that are the same. Okay? That makes it an isosceles triangle. You learned that term the other day. Isosceles triangle has two sides that are the same. This angle in an isosceles triangle, the angle formed by the congruent sides, that's called the vertex angle. In an isosceles triangle, if an isosceles triangle, or if a triangle has two sides that are the same, then the angles opposite those sides are also the same. So these two angles are congruent to each other. These angles are called base angles. So in an isosceles triangle, you have a vertex angle, which is the one formed by the two congruent sides. The other two angles in the triangle are called base angles, and they are congruent. So you're finding the value of x in this picture. Your x is one of the base angles. So since the base angles are congruent to each other, let's make the other one x. And now you've got an x plus a 38 that needs to sum 180. So that's 2x plus 38 equals 180. And you can subtract 38 from each side. So your 2x is equal to 142. And if you divide both sides by 2, then your x is equal to 71. Alright, number 2. This is another isosceles triangle because the two sides are congruent. Now the vertex angle is x degrees and one of the base angles is 56 degrees. You're asked to solve for x. So again, if these two sides are equal to each other, then the base angles are congruent. So this angle is 56 degrees. Which means that your x plus a 56 plus a 56, which is 112, has to equal 180. So you can subtract 112 from each side. X equals 68 degrees. Alright, number 3. Put a star next to it and highlight it. And that means this is hard. And you're going to have to be real focused when you're taking your notes on this problem so that you can get it right tomorrow. Find the value of x. The diagram is not to scale. You've got this triangle RST. Point U is out here. Given RS is congruent to ST, These two sides are equal to each other. The measure of RST is this top angle. The measure of RST is 7x minus 54. The measure of angle STU is 8x. STU is 8x. You've got to find the value of x. Now, you've got to create an expression in this problem when one isn't given. Here's what I mean by that. This is an isosceles triangle. These two angles are equal to each other. So you've got to set up an equation to solve for x. Now, these two angles right here, I'm going to redraw this for a second right here. This 8x, these two angles form a linear pair. And if you subtracted 8x from 180, it would give you the angle on the left side of this pair of angles. So here's what you have to do. You have to make this angle 180 minus 8x. Which is this angle right here. And do you see how these two base angles are the same as each other? Since that's the case, then this angle on the left, angle R, is 180 minus 8x. Now, you learned this week that an exterior angle, this is an exterior angle right here, this angle is equal to the sum of its remote interior angles. So 8x is equal to this angle R plus this angle S. So that's how you're going to set up your equation. You're going to take 180 minus 8x. You're going to add it to 7x minus 54. And you're going to make that equal to 8x. So you're going to combine like terms next. 180 minus 54 is 126. A negative 8x plus a 7x. That's a negative x. And all that's equal to the 8x still. Now you can add x to each side. And 126 will equal 9x. And then you can divide both sides by 9. And 14 is equal to x. Good? All right, number 4. Number 4 says that two sides of an equilateral triangle. If it's an equilateral triangle, then all the sides are the same. So here's an equilateral triangle. We're going to put tick marks on all the sides because they're all the same. Two of the sides, one of them is 2x minus 2. One of them is 3x minus 6. Which could be the length of the third side? Could this third side be 10 minus x, or could it be 6x plus 5? That's the question. So if you know that all these sides are the same, you can say that 2x minus 2 is equal to 3x minus 6. And you can solve for x. So if you subtract 2x from each side, negative 2 will equal x minus 6. And then you can add x to each side, or add 6 to each side, I'm sorry. So negative 2 plus 6 is 4 is equal to x. It's the first part of the problem. We're trying to find out if this third side is 10 minus x or if it's 6x plus 5. So now we're going to substitute the 4 into either of these sides. So if you do 3 times 4 minus 6, you get 12 minus 6. And what's 12 minus 6? 6. So each of the sides of this triangle is 6 units long. So down here, is this third side equal to 10 minus 4? Or is it equal to 6 times 4 plus 5? Alright, 10 minus 4 is 6. 24 plus 5 is 29. So the third side of this triangle is the 10 minus x expression. Number 5. The lengths of an isosceles triangle. So let's get an isosceles triangle on your paper. These two sides are congruent. The lengths of an isosceles triangle. The legs in an isosceles triangle. Those are the sides that are the same. Have lengths 2x plus 4 and x plus 8. The base has a length of 5x minus 2. The base is the side that's not one of the congruent sides. So that's 5x minus 2. What is the length of the base? They're asking for the length of this side of the triangle. So you have to solve for x and then you have to substitute. And if you know that these two sides are equal to each other, you can make 2x plus 4 equal to x plus 8. You can subtract x from each side. X plus 4 would be equal to 8, and you could subtract 4. So x is equal to 4. They're asking you for the length of the base, so the length of the base is going to be 5 times 4 minus 2. And 20 minus 2 is 18. Number 6. You got triangle ABC. This base angle C is 47 degrees. You need angle X, or you need to solve for the value of X, and you need to solve for the value of Y. Alright, I said earlier that in an isosceles triangle, the base angles are congruent. So if angle C is 47 degrees, in this big triangle, I'm not looking at the little ones, I'm looking at the big one around the outside, triangle ABC. In that big isosceles triangle, angle C and angle B are equal to each other, so this angle is 47 degrees. Now, if you need to, you could go over here to the side and you could just draw this big triangle. And you could make these two angles 47 degrees. And you could solve for this top angle right up here. This angle. Because if you know the value of this angle, angle A, the entire angle, if you know the value of that angle, since these two angles make up this big angle, you could divide that angle measured by 2 to get angle Y. Okay? So right here, angle A plus 47 plus 47 has to equal 180. So angle A plus 94 equals 180, and if you subtract 94, then angle A equals, you said 86 degrees? 86 degrees. So if this angle in here is equal to 86 degrees, and you divide it by 2, alright, then Y is going to be equal to 86 divided by 2, which is 43 degrees. So now, 43 degrees is the measure of angle Y. Now, in order to find X, you've got this smaller triangle. And the three angles inside triangle ADB have to sum 180. So your X plus your 47 plus your 43 equals 180. So X plus 90 equals 180. And if you subtract 90, X equals 90. So there's your X, and there's your Y. Number 7, an A-frame house. In an A-frame house. So if I draw this line right here and call it the ground, in an A-frame house, we're calling this the A-frame house because it's in the shape of an A. The two congruent sides extend from the ground to form a 34-degree angle at the peak. So if this is the ground, the congruent sides extend from the ground to form a 34-degree angle at the peak. So your vertex angle is 34 degrees. What angle does each side form with the ground? You're looking for these. They're the same as each other. We've done this problem already, but you had a picture. Now you don't have a picture. So here your X plus 34 has to equal 180. So 2X plus 34 equals 180. So you subtract 34 from each side, and your 2X is going to equal 146, And if you divide by 2, your x equals 73. Number 8. Find the value of x. You've got another isosceles triangle. You're given one of the base angles of 3x minus 50. And you're given an exterior angle of 7x. Said earlier that in an isosceles triangle, two sides are the same. If two sides are the same, then the angles opposite those sides are the same. So this angle down here, angle STR, is also equal to 3x minus 50. And these two angles are a linear pair. They're adjacent and they form a line. So those two angles added together sum 180. So you've got a 3x minus 50 plus a 7x. That's equal to 180. So you combine your like terms. Your 3x plus your 7x is, you got 10x minus 50 equal to 180. And if you add 50 to each side, $10x is equal to 230, and you can divide by 10. So your x in this problem is equal to 23. Alright, on the back of your paper you've got two numerical response questions, which means these are not going to be multiple choice. They are renumbered 1 and 2. So number 1 on the back. An isosceles triangle has a perimeter of 50. So it's an isosceles triangle. Two sides are the same. The congruent sides measure 2x plus 3. The length of the third side is 4x. What is the value of x? Alright, you're told that the perimeter is equal to 50. Perimeter is the sum of the three sides. So if you add these three sides together and set it equal to 50, you can solve for x. So you've got a 2x, a 4x, and a 2x. So you got 8 x's. You got a plus 3, so that's a positive 6. So your 8x plus 6 has to equal 50. If you subtract 6 from each side, your 8x equals 44. And if you divide by 8, then x equals 5.5. All right, and then number 2 on the back, you've got an equilateral triangle. You're told that one of the angles in this triangle is 2.5x plus 6. In an equilateral triangle, all the sides are the same. In any triangle where all the sides are the same, all the angles are equal to each other. So each angle in this triangle is 2.5x plus 6. So if you take 3 and multiply it by 2.5x plus 6, that's got to equal 180 degrees. So you got a little distributive property problem. So you take your 3 times your 2.5x, which is 7.5x, and your 3 times positive 6 would be positive 18, equals 180. If you subtract 18 from each side, then 7.5x equals 162, and you can divide both sides by 7.5. So your x is equal to 21.6. The remainder of your quiz is vocabulary, and I'm going to let you work on that on your own. But that concludes Quiz 8 Study Guide.